If you enjoy truthful and heartfelt conversations to inspire you to become a better version of yourself, Empowering Stories will help you. Hello, Lesley. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Anna. I'm absolutely brilliant. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. And I'm so delighted to have you in the program. Lesley is the founder of the Money Confidence Academy, completely in line with what I believe and with what I'm doing, right? Because money, loving ourselves, self-worth, isn't it all one? Wealth in all areas. So we can start by money, we can start by anywhere. But tell us, how do you empower people, Lesley?
Because it's exactly as you said. It's looking at someone's relationship with money, but actually it's starting by looking at the relationship that they have with themselves. Because when people talk about money mindset, they think it's just about the money, when actually it's nothing to do with the money. It's what's going on for you in terms of your self-value, your self-worth, your self-confidence. And that gets reflected onto your relationship with money. So your relationship with money becomes the symptom, not the cause of what is going on for you inside. And once you really lean into understanding, why am I not valuing myself as much as I should? Why do I not feel as worthy as I should? Why am I no longer that confident person that I was born? Because all babies are born confident. So something happens in childhood that knocks that confidence out of us. Once we realize what we're trying to do is get back to how we were, not become something that we're not. And once people make that connection, then their relationship with money ends up sorting itself out, because they've worked on themselves and what's important to them. And the most important thing to any human is to value what they do for themselves and others.
It sounds awesome. However, you say we need to remember who we were when we were babies. We are abundant, we're wealthy, we are able, we are everything, but full potential. Well, how do people suddenly realize, oh, by the way, my finances suck, I'm going to call Lesley? Does it happen just like that?
No.
Or
No.
what has to happen for somebody to say, hey, hold on, maybe I can do better?
It is an awareness that creeps up on us that we are not being all we want to be. It's a little bit like when you start putting on weight. You don't wake up one morning and go, oh my goodness, yesterday I was a size 10, today I'm a size 16. It's something that slowly creeps up on us. We start blaming other things that are going on. The washing machine has shrunk my trousers. They no longer make jumpers in the same sizes they used to. It's exactly the same with our relationship with money. We start to make excuses, but a point comes when we recognize we either face up to our excuses and do something about it, or we continue to have that little voice in our head that's saying to us, why can't I have what they have? Why can't I be who they are? Why can't I enjoy the success that they're enjoying? Because a point comes when that little voice can either be turned down and we ignore it, but it starts to come back louder and louder and louder, or we can actually say, have that awareness, enough's enough. I've had enough of this. I know I'm worth more. I know I'm capable of more. I've just got to really test myself and see how far I can take myself to actually be the person I want to be, to have the business, to have the lifestyle, to be able to feel as though that little voice is supporting me rather than taking away from me.
That little voice is us, right?
Yeah. It is, absolutely. That little voice is our subconscious, and our subconscious can be mean to us. It can also be a real friend to us. But it's once we realize that we can control the conversation, we can be in charge of our thoughts, but more importantly, we can be in charge of our action. And it's the action that we need to take that starts to change the conversation. When we realize our subconscious is doing its job as she believes she should be doing, looking after us, keeping us safe. But what our subconscious has is all those stored memories from our lifetime where things haven't worked out in the way that we wanted them to, or our perception of them hasn't worked out in the way that we wanted them to. And our subconscious is saying, whoa, hang on. Do you not remember that time when you tried to do that and the result was you fell on your backside and you hurt yourself? Do you really want to do that again? Now, our subconscious will remember things that we don't, but not necessarily remember the reality of the situation. It's that interpretation of the situation. And I'll give you a good example that I frequently use, when I frequently use. When you were a child, you were in the nativity scene, and the nativity play in school, and you were playing the Archangel Gabriel, and your arms were outstretched, and you were really proudly wearing your beautiful white costume with your wings and your halo, and all the parents in the audience were looking on at you. You could see your mum and dad watching you, and you were thinking, this is it. This is my moment. Then all of a sudden, you tripped and you fell off the stage, and the audience starts laughing. Now, you have interpreted that as the audience laughing at you. They weren't laughing with you. They thought it was a comedic moment. They didn't realize you weren't meant to fall off the stage at that point in time. But your subconscious takes that memory and it says to you, do you remember when you fell off the stage, when you were really visible and you ended up with people laughing at you? They were laughing at you. Do you really want to put yourself through that again? So you take that memory through with you, and it may not even be a memory that you recall, because again, to keep us safe, our subconscious will store those things away so we don't have to revisit them and be re-traumatized by them. But it will remind us in a little way, that little voice, you don't want to get visible. You don't want to show up for your business. You don't want to become that person who goes live on Facebook, Instagram, has a podcast, because when you do, something will go wrong and you will look stupid. Do you really want that? But when you push past that, and when you say to yourself, well, whatever happened, happened, but actually, here I am in the here and now, and I need to deal with growing my business. I need to look at who I want to be and the success I want to enjoy. And I can either be scared of getting visible, feeling uncomfortable. What are people going to say? Will I look good on camera? Will my accent be an accent people enjoy listening to? Or I can just do it. And I can demonstrate the art of the possible to myself and to everybody else. Because that is the power. When you demonstrate to other people what is possible for them, that is when we have that ripple effect, and that magic gets passed on to other people. If she can do it, I can do it, because she's just demonstrated it's possible. And when we look for that evidence, and even more importantly, when we create that evidence, we are part of that ripple effect that empowers other people to do what we're doing.
Wow, that's exactly the heart of Empowering Stories here. So that really resonates with me. And I understand this thing of something happened. I put it there in a wardrobe inside my mind somewhere. I don't even know what it was. However, from that moment, I start taking decisions based on that, and I don't even know what that is. From what I understood, you're calling people to action first. Is that correct? So first we start doing?
It's first to have the awareness. So I have a framework called ADIOS, and you'll enjoy this, ADIOS 101. So it's goodbye to limiting beliefs, basically. And the first thing is that awareness. It's having that awareness that you want to change, having that awareness that something else is possible for you. The D is the desire. It's creating that real emotional connection to what you want to achieve. Going back to the weight loss example I spoke about a little earlier, it's a little bit like deciding, I want to lose weight, I want to get fitter. We all know when it comes to losing weight, getting fitter, that first motivation is, I'm going to get into this size dress. I'm going to run, a 10-mile run, or I'm going to run a marathon. And those first few days, you're really fired up, you're really motivated. But then you start to realize you can't have those chocolate biscuits, or at least not the number of chocolate biscuits. It's a cold, rainy morning. You don't really want to go out for that run. And slowly the motivation starts to wane. When you create that real emotional connection to what you really want, and you see your future self enjoying what you want, and you keep reminding yourself of why you are doing what you are doing, when motivation drops and completely drops off, the desire will keep you doing what you need to do to reach that goal that you have in mind. The I of ADIOS is information, being aware of what you are saying to yourself. What messages are you providing that is going to stop you from reaching your goal? And a really good way to do that is to take a journal, a diary for 24 hours. Every time a negative thought comes into your head, get your journal. Don't write down the negative thought. Write down the negative thought in the positive. So you are affirming what you're saying you can't do. You're writing it positively. What that does at the end of the 24 hours is actually allow you to see just how often you speak negatively to yourself or tell yourself you can't do something. But it also provides those affirmations that are relevant to you and your situation. Because I love affirmations, but lots of people struggle with affirmations because saying to myself, I am a really, really wealthy individual. Somebody said, yeah, but I'm not. So why am I saying this to myself?
Does it make sense?
Exactly. People need to create affirmations that are relevant to them. So by actually taking what's going on in your head, turning it into a positive statement, being able to review just how often you speak negatively to yourself gives you that understanding of the information you are providing to yourself. The O in ADIOS is observation, observing what is happening as you're taking action to move away from where you are towards where you want to go, the goal that you've put in mind for yourself. And the S is systematic, because our relationship with money, our money mindset is never one and done. It's not, I'll do the work, that's it, my mindset is sorted. It is always new levels, new devils. But once we know that, and once we have the tools to understand what is going on for us, it means that next time self-doubt kicks in, next time we feel comparatinitis, next time the imposter syndrome comes knocking, we will be able to understand what is happening more quickly and do something about it. A little bit like reaching your ideal weight, regularly hopping on the scales, and when you've put on 2 or 3 pounds, you go, okay, enough's enough now. I need to rein the chocolate biscuits, need to go out for that extra run to ensure I take back to where I was. And it's exactly the same with our relationship with money. Once you have the tools, then you can do something about it. So that's why I designed ADIOS to be that complete circle, basically, of knowing what you need to do, doing it, and recognizing that once those devils start coming back into your head again, you'll know what to do, but much more quickly this time.
When you were talking about the desire, you said that we need to create the emotional connection. Do you do that by visualizing or meditating, or how do you do that? I'm interested in that part.
Okay, so I use many tools with my clients. So visualization, absolutely, is a really good one. To regularly be imagining what is happening for you with your future self. So I am deeply connected to my future self. I'm in my garden office now, and my future self is always 2 or 3 meters down the garden, looking up at me, acting as my cheerleader, or acting as that accountability buddy, or when I need that kick up the backside to do the thing that I don't want to do, she is the one that's looking at me as if to say, really? You're not doing it? Why are you not doing it? So it is about visualizing your future self and the life you want her to be enjoying as a result of the work that you are doing now.
Wow, that's very powerful to have the other Lesley keeping an eye on you.
Absolutely.
That you cannot hide from her.
No. And that is absolutely it. She can be with hands on her hips looking at me, she can be clapping her hands, she can be getting excited, but I constantly feel that deep connection between she and I, because I've worked on that connection over a long period of time. But there's so many things we can do. I will use hypnotherapy with some clients. I will use other motivational techniques that really get people to lean into what is it you really want. If there was no obstacles in your way and somebody said to you, I have got one magic wish that I can grant for you today, what would that magic wish be? And to get them to think, okay, one magic wish, what would that be? And that magic wish is for them. So it's not about, they've got a relative who's poorly, making them well. This one wish is for them. What would they want? Because when we really think about what it is that we want, and we take off all those layers of being humble, all those layers of holding back, of being worthy. Can I really say, I want to be a millionaire? I want to be a multi-millionaire? Can I say that I want to be able to support my community with whatever it needs? You start to dream bigger and bigger and bigger and think about the art of the possible. And then what I ask clients to do is, okay, you've stated what you want. Now go and find who has already done it. Who has already done what you want to do? Because if there's somebody that's already done it, first of all, it demonstrates it's possible. The second thing, find out how they did it. And when you find out how they did it, then start taking the same or similar action in order to be able to achieve what they've done. And once we start to realize that what we want is possible because we found the evidence, and then we break it down into the action that they took, which can then be replicated in the action that we take, that actually allows us to realize that what we want is not impossible. The only person making it impossible is us and our mindset. And what we need to do is take the action and then demonstrate to ourselves, look what's happening. Here's the evidence that I'm doing this, that I'm safe, that nothing's happened to me. Or if things have happened to me, they were meant to happen to me for me to learn from them, to be able to move myself forward. So by combining lots of different inputs, because from individual to individual, what they need may be very, very different. But the way that it gets combined makes it work for the individual. So they start believing, hallelujah, it's possible for me. And that is the real trick to having it, is believing that you can have it in the first place and then making it happen.
Therefore, from what I understand here, do you think, or do you believe that if we have a desire to have something, to do something, to become something or somebody who we are, we would always get it if we put the action? Or maybe we could be infatuated with an idea, oh, I really want to become an actor, for instance, and that's not the real truth. That's something that was installed in our mind by somebody else because, I don't know, our grandmother was an actress and we want to follow her lead or something. What do you think? Can we lie to ourselves?
Yeah, I don't think we can lie to ourselves, to be honest with you. And I think that is why I think we lie to ourselves more in us being able to do something and not believing it is possible for us than largely the other way around. I think there are lots of examples of people who have gone down one path because they thought it was right for them. But you are right, it's probably other voices told them it was right for them, or something came along that they realized they didn't want to be that actress, or they didn't want to be a lawyer, or they decided they didn't want to, follow a corporate route, even though that's what their parents had done. I had a conversation with somebody last week whose family had always been doctors, and he actually is a musician. And his dad was not particularly supportive of him going down, a route that was outside the security that he believed having a proper job offered. But as the gentleman said, I was never going to be a doctor. I didn't want to study. I was creative. I wanted to do something around making music. So he stuck to what he wanted to do and had to go through, lots of hoops and hurdles and rejection to recognize that actually I need to do this. This is something that is innate in me. And I think we all get to that point. I think we all have that ability to listen to our second brain, our stomach, because our stomach is where we get that intuition from. We get that gut reaction, that feeling in our gut when something is right or wrong. It's when we choose to ignore what that feeling is that is telling us, you don't want to be doing this. You don't want to be accepting where you are at the moment. You want to try something different. And very often we'll suppress that feeling. And we suppress that feeling for all sorts of different reasons, because society tells us we should, because we don't want to let down our parents, because we're doubting ourselves, because we're concerned what other people might say. But once we push past all of that and go back to remembering that as a baby, we were all born confident. We were all born believing we were the center of the universe. We were all born believing that what we wanted, we got. But slowly we let go of that. And once we remember that actually history tells us that when somebody truly emotionally believes and passionately believes in what they are doing, nothing has gotten in their way. Not having money, being stuck in jail for tens of years, not being of the right coloured skin, as societies would say you should be to be successful, not being of the right sex that society tells you should be to be successful. When you decide you are capable and you believe in what you are going for, all the evidence is there, it's possible. It's just whether or not you choose to believe it's possible, take that action and create the evidence that you're proving that gut feeling that you had is right and that you can do and be all you wanted to be, but doubt was preventing you from actually achieving.
Does money always follow?
No, I don't think money does always follow. I think, I think there's many examples of people who've been successful in life. Look at Mother Teresa, look at Gandhi, for example. People would say, and I'm sure they would say, that they had successful lives. They created that ripple effect. Did they want the money? No, they didn't want the money, I don't think, because probably if they wanted the money, they could have had the money. Money isn't a motivator for everybody. Money is definitely a motivator, for me, and I'm very, very happy to say that. It's when you decide what is your motivator and you genuinely don't use money as the excuse. I'm not interested in the money. I'm not doing it for the money. Because actually, when you have money, you have more ability to help more people. So actually feeling embarrassed to say it's not about the money is actually not taking the full depth and breadth of the opportunity that money can bring. I spoke about my affirmations earlier on, and one of my affirmations is the more money I earn, the more people I can serve. The more people I serve, the more people, the more money I earn. So I think it is about recognizing that connection between what are your values, what are important to you, but it's not about the money, it's about what you can do with the money. Because for me, money isn't the goal. The goal is what use I can put that money to, the memories I can create, the family experiences, the security, being able to pay for my children's education, being able to share what I have grown with family and friends, being able to support and help people who are not able to help themselves. So I don't think the money always follows, but it's to understand why isn't the money following? Is it an excuse that you are giving yourself, or is there something else behind what you are doing? And that motivator, is not the money. But for a lot of people, they will say it's not about the money. They're giving themselves that excuse. And also they will very, very often be reliant on other people to financially support them. So that's a limiter then as far as what they're able to achieve. Because if they had the money behind them, how much more could they achieve?
And do you think that's a belief that we have that money is bad, that rich people are crooked and take advantage of the rest of the mortals, that is not saint to have money? Is something about that? Or is, as you said, an excuse, I don't make money, therefore I'm going to say that this is not important for me?
There is definitely limiting beliefs that are created, in your childhood. All our limiting beliefs start off between the ages of 0 and 7. Some we will be able to pinpoint exactly the moment we felt that rich people are bad. I can remember somebody saying to me last week, or I heard them saying, it may have been on a podcast, saying that they lived on a council estate when they were a child. They're very, very wealthy now. And somebody drove past in a bright red, I think it was Lamborghini, revving up the engine and whatever. And, everybody around them was saying, look at that idiot, look at them showing off. And she grew up thinking that rich people showed off. Rich people were all about them flashing the cash, flashing their wealth. She only realized as she grew into adulthood how that limiting belief with regards to how people with money behaved, because that car, you know, may have not belonged to that individual. You know, that car may have been bought on credit rather than be bought outright. Yes, you have to have a certain amount of money to buy an expensive car on credit, but there's a perception that we put to people's behavior and how they look without actually understanding the story that's behind it. So our limiting beliefs, what they do is exactly what it says on the tin. They limit us. So we really do need to understand, how is that belief serving me? How is that belief allowing me to be doing what I want to do? How is that belief adding to my life, or is it detracting? And actually, is it true? What evidence can I gather that my belief that rich people are bad, that money doesn't buy happiness, that I have to work really, really hard on all the hours under the sun and never see my family in order to have enough money? What evidence is there out there that other people are having a different experience so that I can understand that is just my belief? Because beliefs are not fact. Beliefs are not steeped in evidence. They are simply something that has happened to us and our reaction to what we believed happened to us. Because usually our belief is an interpretation of a moment in time, rather than actually something that should be impacting our behaviors as adults. Because very often when we're taking those beliefs through from our childhood into our adulthood, our situation, our lifestyle, our income, what we're doing for a living, the friends we circulate with, etc., is very different to what it was when we were children. Yet we carry on acting as though all those years haven't passed, and we don't reflect on the impact that we've allowed that limiting belief, or more often than not, limiting beliefs, to have on us and the action that we're taking. Because that's the important part, is how our limiting beliefs are limiting the action that we are taking.
In your experience, do we have different sets of beliefs in general, men and women?
No, I don't think so. I don't. I think the difference between men and women is women will largely not attach the same amount of their value to their income, to their worth. So men will tend to make much more value-based decisions on those things, whereas women, we're the nurturers, so we tend to make more of our decisions based on how we're feeling, how we're making other people feel, how we are serving other people. It's not just about the money. But men have the same limiting beliefs, or can have the same limiting beliefs. You take a man and a woman who both put their hands up and say, yes, I have limiting beliefs about money. And if I got them to write them down, they would be very, very similar. But women tend to value what they do less than a man does. Now, there was some research that came out on LinkedIn a couple of years ago, I think, that said a man will apply for a job where they tick 80% of the criteria for that job. In other words, they'll go, I'm going to give it a go. I've ticked 80%. Whereas a woman will not apply for a job. She'll see herself and limit herself far more than a man would. No, sorry, it's the other way around. A man will apply for a job where he ticks 60% of the criteria, whereas a woman would only apply if she ticked 80% of the criteria. So men quite naturally are more they'll take the risks. They will value themselves a lot more.
Exactly.
Whereas a woman will not value herself in the same way. And people will say to me, well, why do you largely work with men and not women? So with women and not men. And I do have male clients, but I have many, many more female clients. And it's because women largely will leave their ego at the door. When they say, I now want to sort out my relationship with money, I want to improve my money mindset, they are much more open from day one to talk about what's going on for them. Whereas a man will be a lot more reluctant to open up right away. They need to really build up that level of trust, that level of comfortability, because whilst on the surface of it, they have more self-confidence and they have more self-value, admitting that they don't have the relationship that they want with money, that is a far harder line for a man to cross over, in my experience. And I'm going to caveat with in my experience, simply because it's a conversation that they feel more uncomfortable having initially than a woman.
Yeah, it's about the vulnerability that boys don't cry.
Yeah,
another
exactly.
limiting belief. Boys don't
Another
cry.
limiting belief, absolutely.
Hey, hold on, you have eyes, fellow.
Yeah, exactly.
News. Lesley, I so love what you say, and the way that you share all this wisdom is so easy to understand. It makes so much sense, and you make people feel comfortable. I feel that confidence anyway. So the name of Money Confidence Academy, the confidence, it's there. You hold a space for anyone to be vulnerable with you, and that's sacred, and they can take it from there. For that I sensed all throughout this conversation, thank you so much.
No, thank you, Anna. Thank you.
Because people who believe in themselves, if we believe in ourselves, we can become higher versions of ourselves, and we can help not only ourselves, as you said before, we create this ripple effect, so we can change the world much more if we have money, but overall if we have this confidence, and with money as well. What the hell.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what's so important to me, is actually having that ripple effect, because that ripple effect is what is going to create that ground level change, that as we start going through the generations, we start to see a bigger and bigger amount of impact, and that impact keeps going. So for me to be able to allow other people to feel what I feel and see in them, for them to see that in themselves, and for other people to then witness it and go, it's been possible for them, therefore it's possible for me. Yes, I love the money aspect, of course I do, but seeing people taking control and having that real belief in themselves and going on to create what they really, really want to create, but haven't had the confidence to do, that really, really fires me up and makes me feel really passionate about this work.
It's so contagious. And I think this high vibration energy is so much more contagious than poverty and scarcity, so much more. Yeah, it's worth it. Where can we learn more about you? How something we can read, website?
Okay, so the easiest thing is to go to my website, which is the Money Confidence Academy, because there, all my social media links are there. My podcast is there, because I have a podcast called Let's Talk Money and More, so you can access that there. So that's probably the easiest, on all the the usual social media channels. But if you go to the website, you'll catch everything that you need there.
Fantastic. What else would you like to say? If you had I'm going to give you now the magic wand.
Thank you very much.
What's your wish? Just for you. What's your wish?
I think what would be good if people go to my website and download my money archetypes assessment, that will allow them to better understand the relationship that they currently have with money. Because when we understand the relationship and what at the moment is dictating that relationship with money, that is when we have the evidence of where we are, but also the information on how to get to where we want to get to. So that's me continuing that ripple effect in terms of, it's great that people are listening to our podcast today, but actually there's no point in listening if you're not then going to take action. So take action by going to my website, downloading and completing the assessment, and then allowing that to create that thought process in you as to, okay, this is my knee-jerk reaction when I'm put in a particular situation. Is that helping me or is that hindering me? If it's hindering me, what can I do to actually start encouraging myself to have a better relationship with money? And I think if everybody did that, my children have done it. They're 14 and 16. They've taken that assessment because I can already see, two completely opposing views to how they handle money. My 14-year-old, a brilliant saver, but possibly a little bit too much of a saver, needs to enjoy his money a little bit more. My 16-year-old has spent it in his head even before he's earned it. He needs to be a little bit more like my youngest child. My youngest child probably needs to have a little bit more of the enjoyment of money that my eldest child has. So the sooner we understand our relationship with money, the sooner we're in control of our relationship with money rather than the other way around. So I would love for everybody to do that because it continues that ripple effect.
Fantastic. So in short, move your ass, guys.
Yes, exactly. Beautifully put.
Lesley, what an amazing experience. Listen, I would be listening to you here for hours and hours. I loved your energy, and what I get from here is this complete coherence. You walk the talk big time. For being so congruent. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Anna. Thank you for having me on today. I've really appreciated it. Thank you.
Huge pleasure. Thank you.